This is Kevin, returning to his childhood home. This is the smell of baked pears.
I've got Andrew on camera and Tara and, oh, sorry, the lion's distracting me. Tara and Nikki are in final control this morning. First time, probably about 8:30, 8:45, and they were quite far to the west of where we are now. And slowly over the night, I've woken up a few times and listened to them as they've moved towards this area. And also, there have been two males roaring to the east.
Now,
so hopefully they'll be coming through to join. But for those of you not sure, we're on a live safari.
Its triple action formula contains omega-3 krill oil,
safari here at Djuma Private Game Reserve.
Which is proven to help
we're
support your
completely surrounded by lions at the moment.
All in one
and the sun's just popped up over the horizon.
And
and for those of you who might be new, welcome. Also to let you know, apart from being live, so you're seeing everything that I'm seeing, we're also interactive. So you're able to send me questions while I'm on drive, and you can do that via email using questions@WildEarthTV, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. But for now, I think let's pan back to the lions. We're going to move around so we can get some nice morning light on their faces. So this is the Nkuhuma pride. Nice to see them back again. They seem to be spending a bit more time with us.
This is Celine and David, trying to make new couple friends. This is the scent of vanilla, calming her nerves. Then melon.
There's a lilac-breasted roller who's not too happy about the lions.
In the off-season, you have to prepare like a champion. 5 days a week, no days off. Work on hands, footwork, defensive back. Drills, and most importantly, speed.
Lots of animals. So there's often wildebeest and zebra up here. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the distance. There's a bird calling. That's a Shelley's Franklin, one of my favorite calls in the bush. How we were taught to remember it when we were kids is that to drink a beer, to drink a beer, to drink a beer. So, those of you wondering what that clicking is, Get ready. Looks like they're going to play. I'm just going to move the vehicle quickly. Get ready, going to swing around to the left.
I like to do stuff that's going to make sure that I have high speed. My endurance and my power. I'm not a finished product.
Lions on the move now all around us. Go to these two, left.
After and whatever I'm doing.
As a fullback, you're the last man in defence. You're the guy that they're counting on to stop them from scoring.
Good morning, Boulere and Pam. Boulere and Pam are asking whether this is the quarantine clearings. You are correct. We're on the sort of south and eastern corner of quarantine clearings. Good morning, Rome, who's tweeting us this morning. Rome would like to know if two males came across this group, would the young male be ousted? Rome, it depends on whether they are the possible fathers of that young male. If they are,
introducing Resolve Gold, the ultimate
he probably will be ignored for now, but in a year or two's time, he might be ousted.
Time is ticking. 25 seconds. 26, 27, 28, 29. 30 seconds is up. Those stains really are gone. Resolve Gold. Discover the gold standard of stain.
I'm just, they're going into a little bit of a thicket there. They are still playing and moving. I'm just trying to keep.
Now you can make even bigger strides towards your cardiovascular health. Introducing
Seems like my shuka is bringing us lion luck at the moment. For those of you not sure what a shuka is, it's this red blanket that I'm wearing, which is a Maasai, traditional Maasai sort of warrior dress. It's also warm, quite cold this morning. I think it was 16 degrees Celsius. For a moment there, I thought the one lioness might have spotted something and she was spreading out, but doesn't it? Just looks like they're moving. It's always wonderful to catch them in this early morning light, and when they're moving rather than sleeping, because if any of you guys have watched a lot, and I know there's a few of you out there, lions most of the time, or for most of the time, sleep quite a lot. They can sleep on average about 20 hours a day. So it's always fantastic to be with them while they're on the move. So I'll give you an idea how close they are to us.
There's two right behind us.
Oh, there's two right behind us, walking down the road right behind us. So we're actually boxed in by lions at the moment. So they're probably no more than, the closest one's no more than about 2 meters, which is about 6 foot. Oh, looks like they're going to actually jump and play right next to us. So very close to Andrew at the moment. Oh, hello.
That's close. Well,
that's close. You probably camp about a meter from us. Wasn't that amazing? There's still one more. Any more behind us, Andrew?
Negative.
Oh, look at that playing! Isn't that wonderful? And that with that backlighting, walking almost due east into the sunrise. Look. Oh, isn't that spectacular? So that's a wonderful thing about being able to follow lions in the early morning when it's cool. But they are a bit more active. They tend to play, and they're not too full. So at the moment they're playing a bit more. What I'm hoping they do is they head straight east from here. Oh, we've got the young male coming up behind us. These so we're going to let the other vehicles have a turn in the front wheel. There are 2 other game drive vehicles here, so we do take turns showing the best spot. So I'm going to let the other vehicles come in front of us, and I'm going to try duck around through the bush to get ahead of them again. No problem. Cheers, enjoy. Morning, morning. Okay, we're going to just duck ahead quickly through the bush, take a shortcut. So hold on. Hold on. Oh, sorry, Andrew didn't see that stump. Okay. So yeah, one of the most important things you learn in your guiding career is how to position yourself correctly. And that's not only for photographs and that. It's also to be in the best spot when the action happens. And that's really important. So now we're ahead of the lions. If they happen to stumble onto a buffalo, we're going to know about it before the lions do, so we can position ourselves accordingly so we're in a safe position and we get to see the action. Lioness in front and then another lioness walking down the road to the left. Good morning, Janet from Boston. Janet would like to know who decides when the pride should move and where it should go. To be generally the older lionesses in the pride who decide that, and that obviously changes as the pride develops because there's a bit of a game going on up the road. What happens is that obviously as lions become old and a bit weaker, their dominance falls in the pride, so it's their daughters or nieces that will take over that sort of leading role in the pride. We're going to shoot around again. They're cutting through the bush here, and there is the dam close by, so there's always a chance that there could be prey species around that dam. So as I said earlier, it's all being about a lot of seeing the really great sightings is about being in the right place at the right time, and that's probably one of the more important skills you learn. I was very lucky. I had my dad as a teacher, so I've sort of had this drummed into my head since I was about 5 years old. But rather getting into the right place at the right time is the most important thing, especially now that I can see the lions a little bit hungry, and we've had such fantastic sightings of them close up a little bit earlier, that I know which general direction they're going. This way it also gives me a chance to see what other animals might be ahead. To see that, I think that female should be popping out around here shortly. She has managed to sneak through the quarries already. Oh, there they are. They could rest here for a bit. Lions are quite often do that. Big bouts of activity followed by big bouts of rest. But the activity isn't generally for too long. Obviously not always, but as a general sort of rule, 20 minutes of activity when they're on the move equals 20 minutes of sleep minimum, but normally a bit longer. Nice thing is while they're sitting here and the others are moving in towards them, there might be a bit of gamemanship, a bit more playing. It's still quite nice and cool. So we've got 4 lines here, 5, 6, 7. I can't see one, that's all. Just to get ready, there you see that lioness in the grass. There we go, 8. tighten up ahead, the lioness on the grass. There we go. Thought. There we go. Oh, not too serious playing, but that looks like the two young females are about a year old. Oh. Good morning, Sandy from Texas. Sandy would like to know, while we reposition the vehicle, do we run the risk of interfering in a possible hunt? There is always that risk, Sandy, but being ahead of what's happening gives you the option of not interfering, because you must remember that the animals here, the zebra and giraffe and whatnot, don't really take much notice of the vehicles. So being ahead, we can sort of position ourselves that we don't give away the lines, and we don't chase the animals onto the lines. So it's always a difficult one, Sandy, but that's where years of experience and very good mentors come in as sort of teaching us that type of stuff. So generally not, Sandy, at driving directly behind the lions, that would probably more often give them away or not, and it all just depends on the situation. You have to read each situation individually. You can't do the same thing every single time, because every situation is different. Looks like they're going to go into the riverbed. We saw them sleeping around this riverbed about a week ago. Hopefully they go into the river at a slightly easier place to access than last time. The young male's just behind us. Oof. So they actually were found sleeping, well, probably not even 100 meters away from them, from where we are now the last time that I saw them. So young male's finally caught up. You can see how much, even though he's a young male, he's physically quite a lot bigger than the lionesses already. Oh, and there we go, the rest of the pride sneaking past very close to Andrew. Good morning, Siberia, one of our zoomies. Welcome on driver that's this morning. So we would like to know which pride this is. This is definitely the Nkuhuma pride. So, and would like to know the age range through the pride. It's quite difficult for me to judge the age of the lionesses. As I said, I haven't known this pride for too long, but I would guess they are between. Well, actually, I've got the right man to ask here now. So just give me a second, and you might hear me chatting to Texan, the guide from Djuma, and he'll be able to give me a bit more information on that. Home for? The oldest lioness in this pride, how old, more or less?
Over 10.
Over 10.
Yeah.
And then the somewhat around 6?
6 years.
Okay. There we go. So thanks very much, Tex. So the oldest lioness in this pride is just over 10, and then the other older lioness is around 6. Then the two young sub-adult females probably around a year, and the young males probably just under 3 now, 2.5, 3 years old. So I hope that answers your question there. Thanks very much for the question. We are on online, and it's www.wildsafarilive.com or www.WildEarthTV. Quite nice sitting here on the edge of the drainage line. We're getting quite a bit of the bird calls as well. I don't know if you guys can hear that high pitched. It's a black-headed oriole. Quite a pretty bird. Good morning, Steve from Boston. Thanks very much for your question, Steve, and welcome on your sunrise safari. Steve would like to know, is it unusual for a pride of lions at this time of the year not to have any young cubs? Well, Steve, lions are not seasonal breeders. They breed throughout the year. I haven't heard of any of these females coming to estrus and mating, so it's not unusual. The lions will go through periods where they don't have young cubs. The youngest here are probably around a year, so that lioness is probably not. Well, she might actually be coming to estrus in the next couple of months, but without having spent sort of years with the pride, it's very difficult to learn the estrus cycles of females. It's that lovely soft morning light on her face. Go ahead, F. What's the lineup for you? Everything you can make your way? Is your hand farmer?
I don't know where he's got. Your hand coming?
So, it's actually quite an interesting bird calling. I'm not sure whether you guys can hear it. I know RC from the Netherlands was quite happy. It was bird number 155 on Live Safari Drives, and barred owlet. When we move away from the lines, then I'll play you the call. Are you going to film it to the Zingwe?
Yeah, I will go, but I will...
Can you just Nkuhuma with me with it with Wow, if I can see Kahle from the Ndlela?
Yeah, but...
Sorry, what's your radio again?
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yep. Wild Safari Live. Oh, now you confused me. Just WildEarthTV is that, and then it's www.
It's www.wildearth.tv.
Yeah, and then the other one is.
WildEarthTV. Yeah.
And then Wild Safari Draft.
No, it's live. No, it's Wild Safari Live.
Wild Safari Live.
Okay, yeah. Oh, she looks like she's seen something.
WildEarth.tv. Just type that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, or go to Google and type Wild Earth Safari, and it'll be the top one.
What is she seeing?
Out. Shaya Martin.
Okay. Cheers, everyone. So, guys, I don't think they're going to probably move too much from here, but obviously it's your safari, so you can decide whether we should stay or go look for something else, and you can do that by sending what you'd like to do via email to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Should we stay or should we go? Just so from the calls I heard last night, for those of you who might have joined us a bit late this morning, I heard these lions calling for the first time probably, I'd guess, at around 9:30, quarter to 10 last night, and they've slowly been moving from the west, and then this morning literally we hadn't been out 5 minutes and we bumped into them on the quarantine clearings. And we've had a wonderful morning following them playing, but now they've come down to the edge of the drainage line, and it's quite likely that they're just going to rest up here. Good morning, Virginia. Thanks very much for joining us this morning on this sunrise safari. Virginia would like to know, at what age does a male lion reach its mane reach its maximum size? Well, Virginia, that's quite a difficult one, but it's probably around 5 or 6 years old. But you must remember that all lions have different manes. So some don't ever get those really big manes. I mean, if we look at the Djuma timbers, we see quite often, you can see the variation in mane just between those two, and those are coalition members. So normally probably about 5 or 6, but it does depend entirely on the individual. There are parts of Africa where you find maneless males, or males with manes sort of very similar to what this young male has when they're 5 or 6 years old. So it can vary quite a lot. So what's more than likely going to happen is they're going to be in this general area. They might move up towards Djuma Dam, so you zoomies, be on alert. But I think that if they do that, that's probably going to be later in the afternoon. And they're probably going to lie around here. They might move a little bit into sort of the quarry thickets for a bit of shelter as it gets warmer. But I think they sort of found their general area where they will spend the majority of the day. Lazy lions. Good morning, Sandy from Indiana. Sandy would like to know if you can tell the health of a lion from the condition of its coat. In certain circumstances, yes, Sandy. A condition on an animal like a lion shows more in the sort of skeletal structure. When they're in bad condition, you'll see the ribs. Their hips will stick out and be very, very pronounced. And in some cases, you can see sort of patches on the fur and that. But normally, I would say you just look at the general sort of condition of a lion. Would be looking at its weight and how much the muscles have sort of, if they've lost muscle definition and things like that. So guys, we've been quite spoiled. There are quite a lot of other game drives out this morning who would like to make their way here. So we're going to go have a look for something else and give the other game drives a chance to come in here. Ephraim coming. Aubrey coming. Any stations standing by for these Ngala coming? Good morning, Blair from Canada. Blair's saying she's noticed when the lions are walking, the male lion tends to hang back. And she would like to know whether, is that because the lionesses will instigate the hunt? Blair, a lot of that just depends on who's hungry. Male lions, once they leave the pride, quite often will do quite a lot of hunting by themselves. And they are very, very important when it comes to hunting larger prey like buffalo, hippo, giraffe and elephants. but generally you could say, as a normal rule, a lot of the lionesses will do the instigation of the hunting. Okay, so the vehicles arrived. We're going to make space for them. So we can definitely come back later on the drive and check on the lines. And that's a question from Judy on Twitter. We will definitely check. They probably are going to be sleeping, but we will definitely check later, Judy. Morning, F. Good, thanks. Have you been to those, Ingrid?
Yeah, this is the over there.
Is there, can I buga gahle from the Nhlelo?
Nah. Even you inside the city, the same thing. You can't see nothing.
Okay.
Only me see yes, you can do.
And there's a console for the Madash?
I had a guy check by the Madash now. Might be like in the west.
Ish. I found about those things. Okay. Thanks for enjoy.
Yes, bye.
So, you heard me there just chatting to Ephraim, one of the other guides. I was just finding out updates from other places around. I think we're going to go, I heard a report to some elephants a bit earlier, not too far down the drainage line, so we're going to have a look there. Steph coming. Update for those who might have joined a little bit late. Just left Nkuhuma Pride. We had a wonderful view of them at sunrise, playing and lying out in the open areas of quarantine. And now they've moved down towards the drainage line, where they found a sort of cooler spot. And I think they're probably going to sleep there for the rest of the day. We will have a double check on our way back this morning to just see if they have moved, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to move too far. We've got a question from Tony in Nashville. Morning, Tony. Welcome on Drive. Tony would like to know, do animals have a unique scent that you can buy? Well, Tony, they do. They do have a unique sense. I don't think our human sense of smell is good enough to track them by, though. Leopard scent marks do smell like popcorn, so sometimes you might be able to find the leopard tracks from the smell and then track from there. Sorry guys, got the game drive talking in my ear. I'm just listening to the updates. Yeah, right. So, but the one animal I know I have tracked by smell is western lowland gorillas in the Central African rainforest, because it's so difficult to see the tracks in the rainforest because of all the leaf litter and that. So we actually track them by the smell because they're very, very flatulent, and you actually smell that, and that's how we used to find them quite often. morning, Karen. Thank you very much for your email this morning. Karen would like to know, when I go tracking on foot, do I carry any mace or weapons? And how close is the closest hospital? Karen, it's quite a difficult one. I don't normally carry any weapons or whatnot. I might pick up a stick to throw, and more of that is to distract the animal if I do decide that the area is getting a bit hairy. And the closest hospital is probably Swalu, which is about 40-50 kilometers, I think. Or actually could be a bit more than that. But yeah, no, I personally don't. But you must realize that a lot of us who do a lot of the tracking on foot, we've had years of experience in the bush. And in a lot of the places that we've carried rifles or carried firearms, it's because it's a legal requirement, not because we actually want to. None of us actually want to shoot any of the animals we're tracking. So it's a legal requirement in a lot of places. But no, generally if I'm tracking on foot by myself, I will not carry a rifle or mace or anything like that. You got to trust your experience and your instincts that you know what to do in those situations. Steph, come in. Tweeting us this morning. Anne would like to know whether there have been any wild dog sightings recently. And Mark had an unbelievable sighting last night of wild dogs, hyena and leopard all in the same sighting. Unfortunately, those wild dogs have crossed west. The tracks were followed this morning and they've left the area. But I was very, very jealous of Mark having that sighting of all those animals. He had the wild dogs trying to bite and chase hyenas, leopards up in the tree. So it was it's such an amazing sighting. Followed up on that Cumbria Dorf. So that herd of elephants was seen in this general area. So let's go see if we can find them again. Let's see. Morning, Diana, Donnery and Ginny are all asking about the hyena that was bitten by the wild dogs last night. Is it okay? I'm afraid we have absolutely no idea. It's very difficult to see, and also with a thing like a hyena and wild dogs fight quite often, and the wild dogs bite hyenas very often. I've never really seen any permanent damage, so it's unlikely, but I cannot say for sure. Scott or Steph coming. So we heard a report to these elephants around here. So what I'm probably going to do is just go forward a little bit. I'm just going to switch off the car and and keep quiet for 30 seconds to a minute, see if I can hear them feeding. Well, I can't hear anything. It was quiet a lot earlier that those elephants were seen. So let's keep checking. And there's a spot I always like to check when I come down this particular road. To see, nice cool morning. I think the resident of the hole might be present. There's a dead knobthorn coming on the right. No, he's not there this morning. No, he is there. Look very carefully in the hole. See the hole there?
Yeah.
It's him.
Yeah.
So he's just, the sun hasn't got to his side of the tree yet. So he's still inside the hole. There's a rock monitor, a monitor lizard, who's there we go. You can just see him. He's still inside the hole. So when the sun comes around the corner of that tree, he's going to probably pop out and bask a bit. So it's quite nice. We get to know certain spots where certain animals like to hang out, and this is a favorite of this particular monitor. Scott told me actually it was originally a woodlands kingfisher nest, so it's been taken over, and it's possible that this monitor might have eaten the eggs or even the chicks, and it makes a nice spot for the winter months. So I'm sure the kingfishers have layered it with feathers and other nice warm things. So good spot for a monitor lizard. So this is the sort of terrestrial version of the monitor lizard. We do have a water monitor, or a Nile monitor. It's far more reliant on the water. So there's a vehicle coming up behind us. I'll just show them where it is and we'll carry on. The monitor in the hole there. Oh, I can smell some elephants, and that's what we're on the hunt for. Stefan or Scott coming. So it definitely doesn't look like the elephants have gone to the north. So I'm guessing they might have moved down towards that drainage line that runs from Buffelshoek Dam. I keep getting a whiff of elephants though. Quite strong smelling creatures. Well, their dung is at least. So what I'm doing is I head down towards that drainage line, then we're going to turn off again for a little bit and listen. So, for those of you who might be new or just signed in, my name is Brent. I'm your live safari guide, and we are on a live safari here at the moment in Djuma Private Game Reserve in South Africa. So we're live. Everything I see, you see. We also are interactive, so you can send me questions while I'm on drive. You can do that by using email, and the email address is questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. And we've had a wonderful morning so far. We had started sunrise with a lovely pride of lions, and now we're on the hunt for elephants. So I'm just going to stop here and sit quietly for a minute or so, see if I can hear the elephants feeding. There's no sign of the elephants going the other way. Nope, nothing yet. From Arizona. I heard a bird calling while we're sitting at the lions, and it was a special call, and I said I'd play it when we'd left the lions, so I will do that right now. So as far as I know, it was bird species number 155 on the live drives, and we saw it last week, and it's a very pretty little owl called a barred owlet. Yeah. Fortunately, my iTunes seems to be crashing. will try. I'm just going to restart everything. Hopefully that makes a difference. Because I definitely can't imitate that call. I think I left just air from there, space for 2. Stefan or Scott coming. Morning, Liz from Milwaukee. Liz saying that yesterday Mark saw a secretary bird yesterday, and he's mentioned how rare it was to see, and how even rarer it was to see them in flight. I was very, very lucky where I worked in the south of the Sabi Sands. It's a lot more open grasslands there. And we actually had 2 nesting pairs, so we knew where the nests were. So we would probably see them once every 2 days in that area. And outside of this area, I've seen a lot in the open grasslands of East Africa and Botswana, but it is a more open grassland species than a closed woodland species. So in this area, it's very, very rare to see. Leslie says it looks very green. Have we had much recent rain? And is it normally this green at this time of the year? Well, Leslie, it can be. We actually have had 3 little bouts of late rain, and that has greened up the bush quite a bit. But it just depends on the year. We had a little bit of rain last night, strange enough. Very, very little though. More of a sprinkling. The big thunderstorm around, but it didn't actually bring that much rain. But it is, I wouldn't say it's overly green for this time of the year, with that late little bits of rain we had. So, the area I'm checking at the moment is an area where Karula's been seen a couple of times in the last few weeks, or the last week. For those of you who don't know who Karula is, she's the dominant female leopard in this area. So I'm just having a quick look for tracks here. There's quite a lot of debate on whether she's pregnant or not at the moment, so I want to have a good, proper look at her, see if we think she is pregnant. That would be very, very exciting going forward. At the same time, we're doing a wider sort of loop around the area where the elephants were last seen, just to see if the tracks pass any direction. wonderful, wonderful sort of winter's morning. Bit of a chill in the air this morning. But now warming up quite nicely. Good morning, Claire from New York. Claire would like to know whether instinct plays a role to prevent inbreeding in lions and leopards. Very interesting question, Claire. I'm not 100% sure. I think, I suppose it does, if you think about it. Although lions I know can sort of inbreed for up to 6 generations without too many adverse effects. It's just the way that they're sort of designed with leopards. But sort of those instinctual responses to chase the young male out by the older males in both species, I suppose that is instinct. So I suppose that is the predominant factor in minimizing inbreeding, and that the fact that most of those young males end up far away from their natal areas or natal prides. So yes, I think instinct probably does play quite an important role. Quite a few of you asking, in particular Ellen and Villeray, about the update on Quarantine's kill in the tree. The last I heard, they're still there, but apparently we're not able to get a very good visual from where we are allowed. But we can try once all the vehicles have cycled through to see what we can see there. But apparently the last I heard, both Quarantine and Nkuhuma were both in the tree. So that could be very interesting. Unfortunately, just out of our traverse area, but we'll see if we can sneak along the boundary and get a squiz a little later. Scott or Steph, do you copy? So, I haven't found any tracks of either Karula or the elephants. So I've started heading down towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. Never know what appears at Buffalo's Hook Dam. friend Kathy from Nebraska. Kathy would like to know whether we ever get snow in the area. Kathy, if we did, I would leave. Full stop. No, we don't. We are in the low veld, which is probably on average around between 200 and 400 meters above sea level. So in Africa, that's sort of very, very low for the possibility of snow. We do get snow in the Drakensberg Mountains occasionally, and but no, not here, thankfully. And so that people. Looks like a young male hippo. We've got some Egyptian geese. A very good friend of mine, when she was young, she couldn't say Egypt or Egyptian, so she used to call them pyramid ducks. Very, very quiet. It's always good to stop and listen. Well, that's because they live in India. We don't have any water. Copy, thanks. it's Brent from WildEarth here. We're probably not going to spend too long, as that we can only view from the cut line. So we'll probably just quick update in that area and move off. Andre from Florida. Andre would like to know when was the last time I went fishing and what did I catch. Andre, the last time I went fishing was in a very pretty river not far from here called the Blyder River, and I was fishing for yellowfish, which is one of the most fun indigenous fish species to catch in this area. They're very, very strong fighting and live in rapids and very, very nice areas to fish for them generally. And they're quite difficult to catch. I mean, and it was quite a small river, so we were using very light tackle, using a 2-weight 1 ounce fly rod. But we did catch some nice ones of around 2.5-3 pounds. And on that very light tackle, it's always fantastic. But also fishing in the Sabi Sands, it's quite a difficult one because we are outside the national park. With the permission of the landowners, you are allowed to fish. When I worked further south on the Sand River, on my off days, I used to use very light tackle to fish for baby tiger fish and tilapia. That was always good fun. And in the big dams, you can get some very big catfish, I think, out in the... But yeah, Andre, thanks very much for that question. So just to update you guys, I know a lot of people were curious with what was happening with quarantine in Cube. So, quarantine in Nkuhuma. So, we're going to go have a look. I don't know how much we're going to be able to see as it's just off our Travis area. But we'll just go have a look in the area and so everyone can see what's going on. I'm very excited. I'm very keen to see what's going on as well. And especially after all the pandemonium that was in that area the last night with the wild dogs and the hyenas. Mark was really fortunate to see all of that. So, oh, hello. He's got one horn. That's not something you see too often in kudu bulls. So that's almost definitely broken while fighting. Oh, off he goes. Let's roll back a little bit. So you can see it's a very definite broken horn, and that is from fighting. I've actually found 2 kudu horns that have been locked together, and they died from having their 2 horns locked together during fighting. So kudu bulls can get very, very, very aggressive when they're fighting over a female who's an estrus. What a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day today. nearly in that spot where Q and Nkuhuma are. So I'm just going to try to see what we can see here. As from what Mark told me, it was quite a difficult view from the road. But you never know, maybe things have changed since we were last, since Mark was there. Morning, morning. I can see some hyenas. So,
I wonder if you can go a bit forward. I've got a branch.
You got a branch, no problem. So you can see that the little gardenia is moving quite extensively. So it's probably not the best tree you want to be in. So as we know how, there we go, nice camera work there, Andrew. So obviously we're not going to be able to see whether this is quarantine or Nkuhuma while it's in the tree. It's going to be very difficult. But
when we came yesterday, quarantine was in that exact spot, so I'm guessing that's where the kill was. But that's not saying who's in the tree now.
Exactly, but I know from what I heard on that this morning, both of the leopards were in the tree. So it looks quite precarious, and you can see the hyenas underneath are still very curious. And obviously, because that tree is not exactly the most ideal tree to put a kill in, so you probably find that he put that in the tree under pressure, possibly from hyena. If you can see it there, you might be able to see a bit better from there, Andrew. I think I can see, I thought I saw a bit of meat. You can try to see a bit more about what's going on. Maybe a bit back. Oh, there we go, we can see he's feeding. Looks to be an impala, I'm not sure. It's difficult to see. Text coming. Now I'm trying to see where the other leopard possibly is. And it's so difficult because we can't go all the way across there. Text incoming. Oh, male Impala. There we go, you saw the horns. As he moved there. Quite a precarious spot he's in. I can't imagine lying in a gardenia like that particularly comfortable.